Rain dots the windows in soft percussion. The diner is empty now. Only flickers from an overhead light and the clatter of a spoon in a chipped ceramic cup. Behind the counter, Yusuf, late 30s, in a wrinkled white shirt and grease-stained apron, counts change from a glass tip jar. His hands are rough, his nails chipped, his eyes, quiet storms. He lines the coins into rows on a napkin, 5s and 2s, 1s. Some people count blessings, others count losses. Tonight he was counting coins, hoping they'd stretch like truth in a rich man's promise. The radio in the background plays a sad violin instrumental, the kind that sounds like memory. Diner kitchen. Moments later, Yusuf lifts the steel lid on a near-empty pan. Just scraps. He scoops leftover rice into a takeout box, adds 1 piece of chicken, and folds the lid with a sigh. Diner back door. Night he steps into the rain, hoodie up, carrying the takeout box like it's gold. Small apartment. Nita. Tiny one-room space lit by a flickering ceiling bulb. On a floor mattress, a little boy, Ayan, 8, sleeps with a threadbare blanket over his knees. Yusuf kisses his forehead gently, then sets the warm box beside the boy's school books. He doesn't eat. Back at the door, he takes off his shoes, wet, torn at the soles. He exhales, pulls out a folded envelope labeled rent due, and places it under the sugar jar. He was a man of receipts, of IOUs and skipped meals, but he never let his son see the hunger in his voice or the fear beneath his smile. Diner. Earlier that evening. Flashback style. The night shift's final customer leaves. Yusuf wipes down the table. Worn boots, tired knees. But something under the corner booth glints. He crouches. It's a leather wallet, heavy, luxurious, left behind in a rush. He picks it up, feels the weight, the kind that makes a man's hand shake just slightly. Angle on. His eyes rise slowly, tracking the closed door, the hum of the street outside. Silence. Just him and the wallet. Yusuf sits alone at a staff table, elbows on worn laminate. The wallet sits before him unopened. The fluorescent light buzzes above. He just stares. It's strange how quiet a man becomes when temptation sits in front of him, dressed in leather and stitched with secrets. His hand hovers, then opens the wallet, stacks of crisp bills, large denominations, clean, untouched, and a business card, matte black with embossed gold text, Andre LeBlanc, LeBlanc Equity Group, CEO Private Line. Yusuf's throat tightens. His mind whirs. The door creaks open behind him. In walks Hamza, 40s. The fry cook, hoodie, cynical eyes, tired of life and honesty. Hamza, eyebrow raised. What's that? You win the lottery? Yusuf, small voice. Found it, under booth 4. Hamza walks over, peeks in, and whistles. Hamza, that ain't some regular dude's wallet. That's a tax bracket with a zip. You know what I'd do? Yusuf says nothing. His fingers close around the card. Hamza, Conte D. Keep it. Ain't like the guy's gonna miss it. Bet he got 20 more lined in gold. Yusuf, he might need it. Hamza, scoffs. You need it more. Rent late again? That fridge of yours looking like a graveyard. Think your son gonna eat morals? Yusuf doesn't respond. His jaw clenches. Hamza, Conte D. Look, I ain't judging, but life don't throw bones like this often. Take it. You earned it. How many double shifts you done this month? Yusuf stares at the money, then at the business card, then at his own reflection in the diner's mirror. Character isn't tested when someone's watching. It's tested when no one is. When your back's against a wall, and the door is wide open. He stands, firm, focused. Yusuf, into silence. I'm returning it. Hamza laughs bitterly as Yusuf grabs his coat. Hamza, ain't no badge for being broke and honest. Brother. Yusuf looks back, eyes steady. Yusuf, maybe not, but there's sleep. He opens the diner door and steps into the night. Rain falls hard, thick droplets bouncing off cracked pavement, soaking everything. Yusuf walks with his head low, hoodie drawn tight. One hand clutches the wallet inside his coat. The other wipes water from his eyes. No umbrella, no gloves, just purpose. Some men walk toward dreams. Others walk through storms just to return what never belonged to them. That night, he was both. Streetlights flicker, halos of orange glowing through the rain mist. Buses hiss by, taxi tires splash brown puddles over the curb. No one notices him. He is invisible. He passes closed storefronts, neon signs dimmed, mannequins trapped behind foggy glass. A giant billboard glows above him. Luxury earned, with a sharp-suited man stepping out of a private jet. Yusuf doesn't look up. He checks the address on the card again. LeBlanc Manor, 84 Kingsley Hill. The next stretch is uphill. He climbs, rain running down his neck. His shoes squelch with every step. He'd walked 100 blocks in his life. To jobs, to borrowed time, to borrowed dignity. But this path, this felt different, like the kind you walk when you're choosing who you are. At the top of the hill, the city drops behind him. A sea of blinking lights, blurred by rain. And in front of him, a massive iron gate, black, gleaming, guardhouse on one side, cameras tucked like eyes in corners. The mansion behind it glows warm like a castle in a snow globe. He steps toward the intercom, presses the button. It crackles. Guard, intercom. Name? Yusuf. I found something for Mr. LeBlanc. Pause. Then, gate. Creaks open. A black-suited guard emerges, scanning him from hoodie to soaked shoes. Behind him, a long stone driveway leads to the glowing mansion. Camera pans to Yusuf's face. Tired, cold, unwavering. He steps through the gate. The stone driveway stretches wide, manicured hedges on both sides. Yusuf walks, his shoes squishing with every step, leaving a trail of muddy water on the pristine path. The mansion stands like something out of a magazine. 3 stories of spotless windows, glowing chandeliers, and carved wooden doors taller than Yusuf himself. He had knocked on dozens of doors in his life. Job interviews, landlord threats, school offices for late tuition. But none felt as heavy as this one. He reaches the main entrance. Before he can lift his hand to knock, a guard opens it, tall and stiff in a pressed black uniform. His eyes narrow instantly. Guard. Delivered flat. Deliveries go to the side entrance. Yusuf. I'm not here for that. I found something. Yusuf reaches into his coat and starts pulling out the wallet. Guard. Suspicious. Keep your hands where I can see them. Yusuf freezes. Another house staff member walks by in the background, whispering something to the guard. Yusuf. It's a wallet. Someone left it at the diner I work in. Guard scoffs. You don't just walk up to this house dressed like that, claiming you're doing a favor. Who told you to come here? Yusuf's shoulders drop. He looks down at his soaked clothes. Shame creeps in. Yusuf. Nobody told me. Just the card inside. The guard gestures for him to leave. Guard back out the gate. Now. As Yusuf turns to go, a soft voice interrupts. Girl. OS. He said he found something? They both turn. Standing on the grand staircase, barefoot in pajama pants and a sweatshirt that reads, I read people, is Lila, 16. Wide-eyed, curious, and already sharper than her age suggests. Ella, Conti D. Did you say you found a wallet? Yusuf nods. The guard hesitates. Lila, to guard. It's okay. I'll tell Dad. Let him in. The guard steps aside, reluctantly. Yusuf enters the mansion. The rain still clings to him, but inside, the air is warm, quiet, golden. Lila walks down the stairs, eyeing him like a puzzle. Lila, softly. You really brought it all the way here? Yusuf. Someone would have missed it. Footsteps echo from the hallway. Heavy, measured, powerful. A tall figure approaches from the shadows. André Leblanc, sharp, cold, calculated. He stops. His eyes scan Yusuf like a ledger. The space is grand, polished marble floors, a chandelier that hums with light, and walls lined with museum-like portraits. Yusuf stands near the door, dripping water onto a rug that costs more than his yearly rent. Lila walks toward him, a curious half-smile on her face. She's not dressed for guests, but she holds herself like someone used to being watched. Lila, you work at a diner? Yusuf. Yes, ma'am. King Street Diner. Booth 4. She tilts her head at the word ma'am, Lila. I'm not a ma'am. I'm 16 and allergic to authority. Yusuf tries not to smile. He looks down, hands still holding the wallet, now damp but untouched. Lila, Con TD. You didn't take anything out? Yusuf. Not even a receipt. She steps forward and gently opens the flap. The cash is still perfectly aligned. She exhales, impressed. Lila, most people would have walked away richer tonight, Yusuf. Most people don't have a kid asleep at home who watches what they do. Her expression changes, softens into something like respect. Lila, you have a son? Yusuf Ayan. He's 8. Reads better than me already. She lets out a soft chuckle. It echoes gently in the large space. Wello. You could have just called the number on the card. Yusuf. Phones don't answer character questions. Walking this far. Felt right. Before she can respond, footsteps approach again. Louder. Heavier. From the corridor, André Leblanc enters. Tall, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit despite the hour. His silver hair is slicked back, eyes sharp as glass and twice as cold. He stops a few feet from Yusuf. André, is there a reason a soaked stranger is standing in my foyer at midnight? Speaking with my daughter? Lila starts to speak, but Yusuf steps forward calmly. Yusuf, I believe this belongs to you, sir. He places the wallet gently on a side table, untouched, unopened. André glances at it, then at Yusuf, then at the wet footprints leading to the door. No words, just silence and suspicion. Some men can't be impressed by honesty, only by what honesty costs. André walks forward slowly. André, what's your name? The room is colder than it looks. Modern art, fireless fireplace, crystal decanter untouched on the bar cart. André gestures curtly. Yusuf takes a seat, still dripping slightly, while Lila perches on the arm of a nearby chair, watching. André, you walked here? Yusuf. Yes, sir. André, from where? Yusuf, King Street. The diner. André crosses one leg over the other with surgical precision. André, you didn't think to call. Email. Notify staff. You thought showing up at my home, wet, uninvited, was appropriate? Yusuf, I thought returning it directly meant something. André chuckles dryly. To who? Yusuf. To me. André's smirk fades. He studies Yusuf like a chessboard, measuring moves, watching for flaws. André, you opened it? Yusuf. To find your name. Nothing else was touched. André. There's over $12,000 in that wallet, and a gate pass, which could have gotten you into my office, not just my home. Yusuf nods once. Calm. Yusuf, I didn't come for the money or the access, just to give back what wasn't mine. Lila interjects, softly. He didn't even want a reward. André turns his head toward her, sharply. André, Lila. That's enough. She shrinks slightly but stays. André leans forward now, eyes narrowing. André, let me ask you something, mister? Yusuf. Yusuf. Just Yusuf. André, tell me, is this some kind of stunt? Hoping for recognition? A job? A headline? Yusuf meets his eyes. Steady, honest. Yusuf, I don't need a headline. I need my son to know I did the right thing, even when no one was watching. André leans back. exhaling through his nose. Long pause. Then, slowly, Yusuf reaches into his coat and sets the wallet down on the smooth marble coffee table between them. Still untouched. Still whole. Some moments don't need words, just the sound of leather hitting stone, and a man not asking for anything in return. Andre stares at the wallet, at the man, then flicks his gaze to Lila, who is now staring at Yusuf like he's someone she's never met, but should've. Andre picks up the wallet, opens it, counts the bills with silent efficiency, his fingers moving like a man used to controlling empires with signatures. Every dollar is there. He places the wallet beside him on the armrest. No thank you, no well done, Andre. You said you have a son, Yusuf. Yes, Sir Andre. Do you teach him to work this hard? For nothing? Yusuf shifts slightly but keeps his posture grounded. Yusuf. I teach him that value and price aren't the same thing. Andre raises a brow. Andre poetic. But idealism is a luxury, one you clearly can't afford. He walks slowly across the room, his shoes echoing on the hardwood like punctuation marks. Andre, con to D. Let's imagine a different version of tonight, one where you keep the wallet, walk away richer, buy your son a better jacket, maybe pay off that overdue gas bill. Would that make you a bad man? Yusuf. It would have made me a different one. Andre stops, looks at him. Andre. So, what now? Do you expect a reward? Yusuf known Andre job? Opportunity?
Gratitude?
Yusuf. Just to go home with my head quiet. Lila watches this quietly, chin on her fist, lips twitching with something like respect. Andre studies Yusuf like a case file, reading between the lines, searching for weakness. Then, he pulls out his phone and texts something, fast, cold, calculated. Andre. A car will drop you home. That's all. Yusuf gives a small nod, rising. But before he turns to leave, Andre, Contied. Wait. Yusuf stops. Andre steps forward, eyes narrowing just slightly. Andre, Contied. Your name again? Yusuf. Andre doesn't offer his hand, doesn't smile. But something in his gaze shifts. Barely, like a man who sees a chess piece he underestimated. To the rich, names are transactions. To men like Yusuf, they're everything he's ever had to offer. Andre turns away, expression unreadable. Yusuf walks toward the door. Behind him, Lila watches with something blooming in her eyes. Curiosity, admiration, or maybe just the first crack in the walls she's been raised behind. The rain has thinned into a whisper. The sky hangs low, tired. A sleek black car glides through the winding streets, its engine barely audible. Inside, Yusuf sits in the back seat, still damp, shoes muddy, silent. The driver, stoic and suited, doesn't say a word. He'd expected silence. He got silence with leather seats and tinted windows. Funny how wealth could make even stillness feel expensive. Yusuf rests his head back. The streetlights blur past the window like amber ghosts. He clutches nothing. He owns nothing more than before, but still. There's a flicker of peace in his eyes. Apartment building, stairwell, night. He climbs 2 flights in the dark. Light bulbs out again. Familiar creaks underfoot. He reaches his door, unlocks it gently. Careful not to wake Ayan. Apartment. Same dim. Sparse. Quiet. Yusuf moves past the sleeping boy, bundled under a superhero blanket with a toy dinosaur tucked under one arm. He kneels beside the mattress and touches Ayan's hair, soaked in sleep sweat, still soft from childhood. Some men bring home trophies, some bring truth, and some bring nothing but silence and a clean conscience. Yusuf walks to the small kitchenette, opens the fridge, a bottle of water, a lone egg, half an onion. That's all. He leans against the counter and closes his eyes, just for a second. Then, he opens a cabinet, pulls out a small journal, flips to a blank page, writes, "Return the wallet. Wealth doesn't always look like money. Sometimes, It's just being able to look your son in the eyes. Bedroom. Early morning, sunlight creeps through the curtain slats. Ayaan stirs, murmurs in his sleep. Yusuf's jacket is hung neatly by the door, his shoes drying beside a space heater. His eyelids flutter, but he doesn't wake. Then, a car horn outside. Not the usual traffic, a soft, controlled honk. Yusuf blinks, sits up slowly, walks to the window. Outside, parked by the curb, is the same black car from last night, waiting. Again. The black luxury car sits at the curb, engine humming quietly, a contrast against the cracked sidewalk and graffiti-tagged mailbox. Yusuf steps out slowly. Fresh shirt, but same old shoes. Ayaan watches from the window, still rubbing sleep from his eyes. The driver exits and opens the rear door without a word. Just nods once. Yusuf hesitates. There are moments when life doesn't knock. It just opens the door and waits to see if you'll step through. He gets in. Car. Moving. Later city passes by again. Same route, but different weight in the air. Yusuf fidgets, adjusting his sleeves. He glances at the driver's rear-view mirror, but the man says nothing. LeBlanc Mansion, private study. Morning Andre sits behind a sleek, minimal desk. His suit is immaculate, his watch more expensive than Yusuf's annual income. Lila leans on the windowsill in the background, arms crossed, clearly eavesdropping. Yusuf stands in front of him, dry now, but wary. Andre, I've been watching you. Yusuf, quietly. I figured. Andre laces his fingers together. Andre, I run 26 companies. I sit on 8 boards, and I trust very few people. Yusuf stays silent. Andre, Contd. Most men in your position would have taken that wallet. Lied. Run. But you didn't. Yusuf, I didn't come for this. Andre, but you came back. That says something. Andre stands, slow and deliberate. Andre, Contd. I need a new driver. Discreet, reliable, able to handle sensitive clients. Temporary, a month. It pays well. Full access. Yusuf's eyes flicker. He isn't sure if it's kindness. Or bait. Yusuf. Why me? Andre, because you didn't ask for anything. A beat. Yusuf looks down, then meets his eyes again. Yusuf. What's the catch? Andre almost smirks. Andre. There's always a catch. You'll figure it out. Yusuf breathes slowly, then nods. Yusuf. All right. 1 month. Lila smiles faintly in the background. Sometimes opportunity comes dressed like a trap. Other times, a trap looks just like a second chance. Yusuf stands just inside the massive front doors again. This time he's dry, dressed in a clean black uniform. The jacket fits well, too well. Tailored, intentional, like they expected him to say yes. A staff member leads him silently through the mansion. Some people grow up believing certain doors don't open for men like them. So when they do, it's hard to know whether you've been invited or just let in to be watched. They pass a hallway of gold-framed oil portraits, each more intimidating than the last. Another hall lined with glass display cases holding things Yusuf can't pronounce. Awards, artifacts, expensive nothingness. He walks past the kitchen, too clean to cook in. Past a piano room where no one's played in years. Upstairs now, where the light softens through long, sheer drapes. Marble floors stretch wide. Yusuf's reflection follows him in polished surfaces like a stranger wearing his skin. LeBlanc Mansion, garage. Moments later, rows of sleek cars. Matte black, chrome-edged, no dust, no dents. Yusuf steps into the driver's bay, takes a moment, runs his hand over the hood of a silver Maybach. He exhales. He's so far from the diner now, he can't smell the grease anymore. LeBlanc Mansion, study hall, continuous. He moves back inside, searching for Andre. As he passes the corridor outside the study, voices echo behind a partially closed door. It's Lila. her tone tight. Frustrated. Lyle, OS. You can't just cut the entire outreach team. They're not numbers, Dad. Andre, OS. They're liabilities. And emotions don't sign checks. Yusuf slows, the words hitting harder than intended. Lyle, OS. Maybe if you stopped seeing people as problems to manage, you'd remember how to respect them. Andre says nothing. Yusuf turns away. Quiet. Unseen. He was supposed to drive. Stay quiet. But sometimes, when the rich speak behind closed doors, the silence outside starts to crack. Sunlight warms the white stone. Ivy climbs the railing. A breeze carries hints of jasmine. The city looms far below. Distant. Quiet. Like a postcard. Yusuf stands nearby, adjusting the cuff of his uniform, trying to look like he belongs. Lila appears, holding 2 glasses of iced tea. She offers one without asking. Layla, I figured even drivers get thirsty. Yusuf. Thank you. He takes the glass, surprised. They sit, leaving a polite space between them. Layla. Do you like it here? Yusuf, conflicted smile. It's a different world. She sips, watching the view like someone looking for escape routes. Layla. Most people assume I like all this. The house, the cars, the privilege, Yusuf. Don't you? Lila softly. It's not real, not where it matters. A long pause. Lila, Conti D. When I was 10, I snuck out with the foundation team to deliver supplies downtown. No cameras, no speeches, just handing blankets to people sleeping on sidewalks. Yusuf watches her carefully. Lila, Conti D. It was the first time I felt like a human being and not someone's headline. She looks at him now. No wall, no sarcasm. Lila, Conti D. I want to build something. A real program. Jobs, education, therapy. Help people who don't get a second chance. Yusuf. People don't need much. Just someone to believe they're more than their worst day. She smiles, surprised by the weight in his voice. Lila. You really meant what you said. About your son watching what you do? Yusuf every day. Even when he's asleep. Lila, I hope he grows up to be like you. He tries to brush it off, but his eyes soften. Lila, Conte D. You know what I call you in my head? Yusuf. I'm afraid to ask. Lila. The honest man. He chuckles gently, humbled. In a world where everyone's trying to be interesting, sometimes the most powerful thing is to be good. Behind them, the wind shifts. The mansion gates open. A sleek black Bentley waits in the center of the circular driveway like a panther ready to pounce. Yusuf, now in full uniform, opens the driver's door, adjusting his cap and gloves. His posture is straight, composed, but his eyes flick to the mansion door where Andre steps out, followed by 2 suited executives. Andre. You know the city? Yusuf. Better than most. Andre, prove it. Don't speak unless asked. Don't miss a turn. And don't stall in front of cameras. Yusuf nods once. Sharp. Silent. Bentley. Moving. City. Traffic. The engine hums low as Yusuf navigates through tight intersections. Aggressive taxis and impatient bikers with calm precision. He weaves through chaos like it's choreography. In the back seat, Andre types on his phone while the executives murmur behind tinted privacy glass. This wasn't just about driving. It was about being invisible in a room full of power. A man behind the wheel, trusted with secrets he'd never be allowed to speak. They passed through upscale business districts, past city halls, around blocked construction zones. Yusuf makes split-second detours without hesitation. At one point, a cyclist veers into the lane. Yusuf brakes just in time. Smooth, no jolt. Andre glances up. Not a word, but something changes in his eyes. Downtown drop-off. Later, Yusuf pulls up to the curb, exactly on time, door aligned perfectly with the marble steps of the investment firm. Andre steps out. No thank you, no nod. Just walks. Yusuf watches him go. Bentley. Moments later, as Yusuf adjusts the rear view, he notices something. Andre is standing on the sidewalk, not walking yet, watching the Bentley. Watching him just for a beat. Maybe for the first time in a long while, Andre LeBlanc wasn't calculating profits. He was calculating something else, something that couldn't be bought. Dim. Quiet. The city hums outside the cracked window pane. A bare light bulb swings slightly, casting soft shadows. Yusuf sits on the edge of the mattress, carefully stitching a tear in his son's backpack. His fingers are rough, but his movements are precise, like someone used to fixing things that should have broken long ago. In the background, Ayan sleeps curled up tight, clutching a worn-out action figure. Before every man becomes who he is, he carries the weight of who he used to be. As Yusuf ties off the thread, his eyes drift to the corner of the room. A small, faded photo taped to the wall. A young woman, soft smile, holding baby Ayan. Yusuf, younger, beside her, laughing like the world wasn't heavy yet. Flashback, hospital room. 5 years ago, Yusuf sits beside a hospital bed, holding her hand. Nadia, his wife, lies weak, tubes and wires coiled around her like vines. Nadia, don't give up. Yusuf, I won't, I swear. Nadia, smiling faintly. You're stronger than you believe. Tears streak down his cheeks. She lifts her hand slowly, touches his. Nadia, con to D. And don't let him grow up thinking you're broken. A long beat. Then, the flatline. Flashback ends Yusuf's apartment. Night. Yusuf looks away from the photo, eyes glistening but dry. On. OS. Dad? He turns. Ayan is awake, blinking sleepily. Yusuf. Yeah, buddy? Ayan, quiet. When will you be happy again? Yusuf's throat catches. He kneels beside the boy, brushing his hair gently. Yusuf. Soon, insha'Allah. Soon. Some promises aren't made out loud. They live in silence. In sewing needles. In bedtime whispers. In the spaces between grief and trying again. Yusuf kisses his son's forehead. Outside, the city blinks. A long obsidian table stretches under a glowing chandelier. 12 settings. Silver cutlery. Napkins folded like origami. It's the kind of room where people eat power, not food. Yusuf stands near the doorway, adjusting his collar. His black uniform looks out of place against all the designer suits and silk dresses. Andre gestures to an empty seat beside him. Andre, join us. Yusuf. Confused. Sir? Andre, you work for me. Sit like it. Yusuf hesitates. Slowly walks over. Every eye at the table follows him. Curious, skeptical, amused. Across from him sits a man in his 60s with white teeth and a hollow laugh. Charles Winters, investor. Beside him, a woman dripping in gold. Margot, PR executive. Charles, smirking. And you are? Yusuf Charles. Just Yusuf? Yusuf. That's all that fit on the name tag. Polite chuckles. But Margot doesn't laugh. Margot. What do you do, Yusuf? Yusuf, I drive. I observe. I don't interrupt people when they're wrong. Margot blinks, caught off guard. A tense silence. Charles, chuckling. A philosopher behind the wheel. Dinner is served. Foie gras, tiny portions Yusuf doesn't recognize. He doesn't touch it. As the wine is poured, the conversation drifts toward cost-cutting, corporate downsizing, and optimizing human capital. Margot people don't want jobs anymore. They want therapy. Purpose. It's exhausting. Yusuf. Maybe that's because they've worked so long without dignity. They've forgotten what survival feels like. The room falls quiet. Yusuf. Conti D. If you want people to care about your brand, start by caring about them. A beat. Even Andre looks up. Lila watches from a corner, her expression unreadable. but her eyes linger on Yusuf longer than anyone else's. Some tables weren't built for men like him, but sometimes all it takes is one truth to make everyone else choke on their silver. The dinner party has ended. Guests are leaving in sleek cars, wine glasses half full. Laughter echoes faintly as the front doors shut one by one. Andre stands by the fireplace in his grand library, sleeves rolled to his elbows, sipping from a short glass of scotch. The fire glows low behind him. Yusuf, now back in his role. Standing, hands respectfully folded, eyes lowered, waits near the entrance. But Andre doesn't dismiss him. Instead, he speaks without turning around. Andre, you've been poor a long time, haven't you? Yusuf, pause. Long enough to know it's not just about money. Andre finally turns, brow arched with curiosity. Andre, what's it about then? Yusuf, about never being allowed to dream out loud. Andre walks toward the bookshelves, running his finger along the spines. Andre, most people in that room tonight make decisions that affect thousands of lives. Markets move when they speak. Yusuf, and yet not one of them asked who washed their dishes. That stops Andre. He half smiles, but it's thin, almost reluctant. Andre, you think I'm heartless? Yusuf, I think you know the cost of everything, and maybe the value of less than you used to. A beat. Andre looks down at the glass in his hand. Something flickers behind his eyes. Something human, but fleeting. He sets the drink down. Andre, stay on. Not just for the month. Yusuf, pause. What would change? Andre shrugs. Andre, nothing. But I'd like to see what happens when someone in this house doesn't just say yes to me. Yusuf doesn't answer right away. But he doesn't leave either. Respect isn't given in rooms with titles and ties. Sometimes it's earned, quietly, one truth at a time. The rain taps gently against the tall windows. The mansion has gone still. Most of the staff retired, the guests long gone. But behind one closed door, voices raise. Andre's study. Continuous, Andre stands by his desk, a stack of folders in hand. Across from him, Lila, arms crossed, eyes narrowed, barefoot in pajama pants, but standing tall. Lila, you're cutting how many people? Andre, 37. Redundancies. Efficiency. It's simple math. Lila, they're not math, Dad. They're people. Andre, people who clock in, collect paychecks, and drain resources. We aren't running a charity. Lila, maybe that's exactly what you should be doing. He throws the folders down on the desk. Hard. Andre, you've lived in this house your whole life. You don't understand what it takes to keep it standing. Lila, I understand when something is rotting from the inside. Beat. Andre turns his back, pulling a document from a drawer. Andre, you're young, idealistic. That's fine, but this company doesn't run on dreams. LA, it could. If you weren't so afraid of changing it. She storms out, the door slamming behind her. Mansion hallway. Moments later. She walks quickly, jaw tight, eyes wet but burning with frustration. Yusuf stands nearby, adjusting the pillows on a sitting bench, a quiet figure in the shadows. Lila stops when she sees him. Silent, breathing hard. Lila, you ever wanted to shake the whole world and make it listen? Yusuf looks up. Yusuf. Every day. She walks over, leans against the wall near him. Lila, what would you do if your father thought power mattered more than people? Yusuf studies her, not as a rich girl, but as a daughter cracking under legacy. Yusuf, I'd remind him that without people, power just echoes in empty halls. She swallows, then looks up at him. Lila, can I ask you something crazy? Yusuf, go ahead. Lila, will you teach me about real people? Some storms don't come from the sky. They break from the inside out, and when they do, the ones who see clearly get soaked first. Sunlight creeps through the tall glass panes, The kitchen, usually quiet, smells of fresh toast and brewed coffee. Yusuf stands at the counter, still in uniform, preparing tea the way his mother taught him. Slow, careful, no rush. Lila enters in a hoodie, still barefoot, her hair tied up messily. She watches him in silence for a moment. Lila, is that cardamom? Yusuf, fresh. Crushed it myself. She slides onto a stool. Lila, how do you still do things with care? When no one's watching? Yusuf pours the tea into two mismatched mugs. Hands her one, Yusuf. Because it matters to someone even if it's not seen. She nods slowly, warming her hands around the mug. Leila, I can't change my father's company. He won't listen to me. But I want to do something different. Something that helps. Yusuf. Big changes don't start big. They start at your dinner table, at your office door, with the people whose names no one learns. Lila. I don't even know how to begin. Yusuf. You begin by seeing people. He sips his tea, a beat of silence between them. Yusuf, Conti D. Go visit the employees. Talk to them, not with a clipboard. With your ears. Lila. What if they don't want to talk to someone like me? Yusuf. Then don't talk. Listen. She watches him, humbled. Lila. Why aren't more people like you in charge? Yusuf chuckles softly. Yusuf. Because people like me are too busy surviving to sit at the head of the table. Lila leans in a little, voice sincere now. Lila. Then help me. Teach me. Show me the world you've seen. The one I've been sheltered from. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can give someone isn't advice. It's perspective. Yusuf nods once. No promises, just presence. Andre LeBlanc walks slowly down the marble hallway, his custom leather shoes clicking against stone. He carries a thin tablet in one hand, scrolling through projected earnings, dismissals, risk reports. But his focus wavers. From the railing, he catches a view down into the garden. Garden terrace. Continuous. Andre's POV. Yusuf and Lila sit at a stone table under an arch of flowering vines. He's showing her something, a small handwritten notebook. She's leaning in, fully engaged, nodding slowly, face lit with curiosity, not privilege. They laugh, not loudly. Just enough. Andre pauses, his eyes narrow. Then, not anger, not envy, disruption. A disturbance to the narrative he's built around people like Yusuf. Andre's private office. Moments later, he sets the tablet down and walks to the mirror behind his desk. Tall, framed in silver, clean enough to show every line in his face. He stares at his reflection. The thing about power is, it lets you craft your image until you forget there's a face underneath. A man, a father, a flaw. Andre notices a small photograph tucked behind a glass. Young Lila, maybe 7 years old, drawing a heart on a chalkboard. He'd forgotten it was there. He closes the drawer. His gaze hardens. Walks back to the desk. Pulls out a file. Insert. Yusuf. Background check. Pending. Andre slides it closer. Fingers drum against the surface. Andre. VO. If he's truly who he says he is, then he won't break under pressure. He makes a call. Andre. Into phone. Yes. Tell him I want to speak with him. Alone. He hangs up. For men like Andre, trust isn't given. It's orchestrated. And sometimes, so are the trials that come with it. The air is heavier tonight. Curtains half drawn. Fire unlit. The storm hasn't come yet, but it's close. Yusuf enters slowly. The butler had simply said, Mr. LeBlanc wants to see you. No context. Andre stands at the far end of the study, staring out the tall window. City lights blink in the distance. Andre. Tell me something, Yusuf. You ever dream of owning something? Yusuf, surprised. A little cafe, maybe. Small space. Good people. Fair pay. Nothing big? Andre turns. Andre. You've served tables, driven cars, cleaned up other people's messes. But have you ever built something with your name on it? Yusuf shakes his head slowly. Andre, Conted. Would you? Yusuf. What is this? Andre picks up a folder from the desk and tosses it toward Yusuf. It slides halfway across the polished wood. Yusuf opens it. Inside, blank financial templates, empty floor plans, and a sticky note. Make it matter. Andre. This is your test. Yusuf. Test. Andre, 3 days. Create a business model. Something that could actually work. Not just survive, but scale. Think like someone who deserves a seat at the table. Yusuf. Pause. Why? Andre walks slowly around him. Andre. Because I don't trust people who ask for power. But the ones who don't ask for anything? They might be the ones worth investing in. Yusuf. And if I fail? Andre. Then we thank you for your time and you go back to being a driver. Or a dreamer. Long silence. Yusuf closes the folder slowly. Yusuf. 3 days? Andre, 3 days. Some men are handed keys. Others are handed maps with no roads. But every now and then, someone tries to build the road himself. The lights are dim. A small desk lamp flickers, casting golden light on a pile of scratch paper, open notebooks, and coffee-stained pages. Yusuf sits hunched over the desk, a pencil between his fingers and Andre's empty business template open in front of him. He rubs his eyes, exhausted but focused. Some men train with money, others train in silence, guided only by necessity, and a dream stitched together with scraps. Yusuf drawing a basic cafe layout on graph paper, labeling each table with prices scribbled in margins. Neen, Googling phrases like how to scale ethical businesses and social employment models. Watching late-night videos about co-ops, community kitchens, and job training programs. Lewa, reading articles with titles like Hire the Unhireable. Scribbling slogans on napkins, The Honest Table. Dignity served daily. Apartment. Living room. Late-night Tayan stirs from the mattress. Rubbing his eyes, he walks over, sleepy. Ayan, Dad. Are you doing homework? Yusuf smiles softly, lifts him into his lap. Yusuf. Something like that. Trying to build a place. A real one, where people like me, and maybe people like you, could have something of our own. Ayan looks at the sketch. Ayan, what if it had books? Like free ones? For kids who wait while their parents work? Yusuf pauses. Smiles. Yusuf. Yeah, that's good. He grabs a pen and adds Book Nook, Kids Corner, to the plan. When the world teaches you to expect nothing, daring to imagine something better becomes an act of rebellion. Ayan leans his head against his father's chest. Yusuf keeps sketching. The clock reads 3:14 a.m. Sleep can wait. Glass walls. A marble table. A massive digital screen on the far end. Yusuf stands alone at the head of the room, wearing his best shirt. Pressed, but fraying at the cuffs. He clutches a simple folder labeled The Honest Table. Across from him, Andre, seated like a king behind a chessboard. Beside him, 2 executives in designer suits and a woman from finance, tapping a tablet. Lila sits off to the side, quiet. Not part of the board, but very much present. Yusuf clears throat. Thank you for your time. He opens the folder and lays out hand-drawn diagrams, financial projections sketched in pen, and one color-printed mock-up of a small cafe with the words, The Honest Table, where everyone's welcome. Yusuf, Conti D. This isn't just a cafe. It's a model. Low-cost, community-owned spaces. Hiring formerly incarcerated individuals, single parents, veterans. People passed over because they don't look like resumes. The board members glance at each other. Yusuf, Conti D. Profits are shared. A third reinvested. A third to staff bonuses. A third to expansion. Meals stay under $6. Bookshelves for kids. No one eats alone unless they want to. He clicks the next slide. A mocked-up blueprint of a storefront in the city's industrial district. Yusuf, Conti D. First location costs less than a penthouse couch. High foot traffic. Underserved area. Locals are already on board. Some said they'd paint the walls for free. A beat. Yusuf. Conti D. I know I'm not a businessman, but I know people. I know what it feels like to have a door open, and know it's not for you. Silence. No clapping. No smiles. Andre leans back, expression unreadable. He steeples his fingers beneath his chin. Lyle, softly. You okay? Yusuf exhales slowly. Yusuf. I said what I came to say. Some rooms are so quiet they scream, especially when the rich have to listen to the poor explain what dignity sounds like. Andre doesn't speak. He simply nods toward the door. Dismissed. Yusuf walks slowly down the long corridor. His footsteps echo. The folder now feels heavier in his hand than it ever did before. Lila catches up behind him, her expression conflicted. Lila, you meant every word in there. They don't know how to hear truth without bullet points and buzzwords. Yusuf manages a faint smile, but it's thin and worn. Yusuf, doesn't matter. I wasn't what they were looking for. Lila. That doesn't mean you were wrong, Yusuf. No, just unheard. LeBlanc Mansion. Study. Same time Andre stands by the window, arms folded. One of his executives lingers beside him. Executive. His pitch was emotionally compelling, but not scalable. Too risky. Andre, slowly. He thinks like a worker, not a partner. He says it almost with regret. Almost. LeBlanc Mansion. Front steps. Moments later. Yusuf steps outside, folder still in hand, suit slightly wrinkled now. The black car is waiting. The sky is overcast. He takes one final look at the house, the empire, the gate, and then walks toward the car. Not with anger. Just with nothing. Car. Moving. Moments later, he sits in the back seat, staring out the window. The city blurs past. His reflection stares back at him. His thumb brushes the corner of the presentation folder where Ayan's small handwriting in pencil reads, "Don't give up, Dad." His eyes close, just for a second. Rejection doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers through closed doors and leaves a man wondering if dreams were only meant for the powerful. The car keeps driving, and Yusuf, for the first time in days, feels tired. Stacks of books, paint-stained jeans on a chair, a corkboard full of sketches, quotes, and photos from volunteer work. It's the one room in the mansion that feels alive. Lila sits at her desk, staring at her tablet. The folder Yusuf had presented now sits beside her, carefully guarded, not discarded. On screen, Yusuf's blueprint, scanned and annotated. She's already entered the numbers into a budgeting app. Sometimes, belief doesn't die with rejection. It hides, waiting for someone else to carry it forward. She swipes to a spreadsheet. Column A. Equipment needed. Column B. Estimated cost. Column C. Covered by me. She opens a drawer. Inside a checkbook, a trust fund card, bank documents she never wanted to use this way. She writes a number, then adds another 0. Her hand shakes slightly, but her eyes are steady. Yusuf's apartment. Night, present. A knock at the door. Yusuf opens it to find Lila, hoodie on, hair pulled back, and a glint in her eye that looks nothing like pity, and everything like fire. She holds up a manila envelope. L.A. You think you were alone in that room? You weren't. I was sitting right there, and I believed you. Yusuf hesitates, stunned. Lila, Conti D. I pulled the funds. Location's already on lease. Equipment's on order. We start next week. She hands him a single key. A brass tag reads, The Honest Table, Unit 7 Sai Yusuf. I don't understand. Why would you? Lila, because your dream deserves daylight, and some of us were raised in shadows. A long beat. Yusuf blinks back something deep. He opens the envelope slowly. Inside, blueprints, the lease agreement, and her signature. When the gatekeepers say no, the brave climb the wall. And sometimes, they throw a rope down for someone else. Gray warehouses, rusted fences, cracked sidewalks. But in the middle of it all, life. A small building with a brand new sign, The Honest Table, where everyone's welcome. Fresh white paint, hand-painted mural, a broom leans by the door. Inside, warm light spills from tall windows. Steam dances in the cold air. The Honest Table. Continuous. The front door opens to the smell of baked bread and spiced tea. The walls are decorated with photos of local people, not celebrities. A chalkboard menu lists items under $6. A donation jar reads, "Pay what you can. Give what you wish." Behind the counter, Yusuf adjusts his apron, a simple gray one with his name stitched across the front. Some dreams don't need to be loud. They just need to open on time and smell like home. A bell rings. The first customer walks in, a woman with tired eyes and a toddler on her hip. Yusuf greets her with a smile that comes from the soul, not the paycheck. "Yusuf, first cup's on us. Your family now." Others follow. A man in construction gear, a young girl with headphones, two elderly women curious about the sign. Soon, the tables fill. Montage. A volunteer restocks the books in the kids' corner. A teenager nervously hands over a resume. A mother hugs Yusuf after tasting soup. A chalkboard tally reads, 15 meals paid forward today. The sound of laughter. Steam from coffee mugs. Quiet music playing on a second-hand speaker. Andre's office. Late morning, Andre sits behind his massive glass desk, flipping through the Herald. On page 3, new cafe in South End serves hope. Not just coffee. A former waiter launches Community First Cafe with unexpected funding. There's a photo. Yusuf at the counter, wiping a cup, smiling gently. Andre stares at it. Expression unreadable, but his fingers pause on the page just long enough to feel something shift. The golden hour spills through the front windows. The place hums with quiet joy. Clinking cups, soft conversation. A child giggling by the book corner. Yusuf wipes down a table, his sleeves rolled, apron slightly flour-dusted, tired but calm. He smiles at a woman counting coins, tells her, "It's okay, pay next time." Then, the door opens. A sudden sharp hush falls across the room. Andre LeBlanc steps in, impeccably dressed, ice in his presence. But something in his eyes flickers. Maybe recognition. Maybe something else. Yusuf looks up. Doesn't flinch. "Yusuf, you found it." Andre scans the room, takes it all in. The warmth, the ordinary kindness, the mural painted with neighborhood faces. His gaze lingers on a sign that reads, "Everyone deserves a second chance, including us." "Andre, you went around me." Yusuf wasn't a circle to begin with. Just a locked door. Andre steps closer. The customers begin to whisper, "Andre, you used my daughter." "My name, Yusuf. I used what you threw away." "Andre, I told you this model would fail." "Yusuf, you told me people weren't worth the risk." "I disagreed." A beat, heavy silence. "Andre, you should have come back to me first. Asked permission." "Yusuf, some dreams don't need permission. They just need breath." Andre studies him. No anger now, just a challenge unmet. "Andre, and if it collapses?" "Yusuf, then I'll rebuild it. With the same hands that built your mansion's foundation." There are confrontations where one man speaks to another. And then there are moments where pride speaks to purpose and loses. Andre turns to leave, stops at the door, looks back once, no threats, just a long, unreadable stare. Then he's gone. Yusuf exhales, just once. The mansion is silent. No music, no staff, just the low hum of a floor lamp and the occasional crackle from the fireplace that was never lit. Andre sits alone at his desk. No suit jacket, just his shirt sleeves, rolled and wrinkled. something rare for a man who controls everything he touches. On the desk in front of him, a tablet. He taps it. Video footage plays. The Honest Table. Earlier today. Leela had set up a discreet camera. She narrates as she walks through. A single mother being offered a free lunch without judgment. A man in a work uniform sweeping the floor after eating, saying, "Just wanted to help." A boy donating his only comic book to the cafe's bookshelf. Then Yusuf appears on screen, tying a napkin around a child's neck as a makeshift bib. Lele, VO on video. He didn't ask for this to be noticed. He just did it. Again and again. Andre leans back slowly, eyes never leaving the screen. Some storms don't end with thunder. Sometimes they fade into a quiet reckoning. The kind that settles in your chest when you realize you've spent years building walls to keep out exactly the kind of man you once hoped to be. He rewinds, plays again, freezes the frame on Yusuf laughing with a customer. He zooms in, not on Yusuf, but on Lila, sitting by the register, smiling like she belongs to something for the first time in years. Andre leans forward, closes the tablet. His eyes, usually sharp, tactical, are softer now. Fogged. He doesn't speak, just exhales. Sunlight streams through the windows. The cafe bustles with warmth, coffee brewing, kids reading, laughter echoing. The chalkboard reads, 27 meals paid forward today. Yusuf stands by the front counter, showing a new hire how to refill the community tea jar. Suddenly, bang, 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 the front door swings open. Two stern men in official jackets step inside, followed by a stern-faced city inspector in a dark blue clipboard vest. Inspector Health and Safety Division. Are you the owner? Yusuf. Yes. Is something wrong? Inspector. We've received complaints. Anonymous. We're here for a full inspection. Food prep, storage, ventilation, and occupancy compliance. The room stills. Conversations die. Customers whisper. Yusuf. You're welcome to check anything. We've kept everything clean. Inspector. We'll see. Inspectors checking behind the counter, snapping photos of an unopened bulk flour bag. One squinting at a hairline crack in a tiled wall. Another noting that the refrigerator is borderline too warm. A crowd gathers by the windows. Cafe. Later. The inspector pulls Yusuf aside. Staff and customers watch from a distance. Inspector. You're temporarily shut down. Non-compliance on 4 counts. You'll receive a written report. Yusuf 4. That can't be right. We followed every guideline. Inspector. File an appeal. Until then, doors stay closed. They hand him a notice marked in red. Cease operations. Effective immediately. Alley near cafe. Moments later. Yusuf walks outside, gripping the notice. His face is blank, too stunned for anger. A luxury black car idles across the street. Inside, a man in a gray tailored coat watches with a smile behind tinted glass. It's Andre's rival, Edward Vale. The same man who sat at Andre's last board meeting. The one who always talked about acquisitions, not people. He sips from a to-go espresso cup, then drives off. Some walls don't crumble on their own. Sometimes, someone pushes. The shutters are pulled halfway down. A handwritten sign on the door reads, "Temporarily closed. We'll be back." But the hope in the handwriting doesn't reach Yusuf's eyes. He stands on the curb, answering questions from confused customers. Customer 1. This your place? Yusuf. Yes, ma'am. We'll reopen as soon as we're allowed. Customer 2. They said it was a rat? I've never seen one. Yusuf. There aren't any. It's politics, or fear, or both. Across the street, a small crowd is forming, whispers, pointing. Then, a black SUV screeches to a stop. 2 suited men step out, followed by a third in plain clothes with a clipboard. Clipboard man Yusuf Khan? Yusuf, slowly. Yes? He walks toward them, wiping his hands on his apron. Clipboard man. You're being investigated for misuse of private funds and operating under unregistered capital. Yusuf blinks. Stunned. Yusuf. What? That's not possible. Every dollar, every receipt, was clean. Clipboard man. We've received a report that significant startup capital came from a miner's account without verified authorization. Yusuf. You mean Lila? He looks around, customers watching, phones raised, staff peeking from behind windows. Clipboard man. We'll need you to come with us for questioning. Please do not resist, Yusuf. Wait, this isn't right. She gave it. She signed. Police sirens approach. 2 uniformed officers pull up beside the SUV. One begins pulling cuffs from his belt. Crowd begins to murmur. Is that the owner? Didn't he open this place to help people? I thought he was different. Lila isn't there. Andre isn't either. Just Yusuf. Standing alone again, as cold metal wraps around his wrists. The higher you try to climb, the louder they whisper when you fall. The mansion glows like a golden cage. Everything inside is still polished, still perfect. But Lila storms in through the front door, soaked in rain and rage. She heads straight for the study, flinging the door open. Lila, you let it happen. Andre doesn't look up. He sits behind his desk, reading something, pretending to be busy, always pretending. Lila, con T-Day. They arrested him, Dad. Cuffed him, like he was a criminal. Andre, he misused funds. Lila, my funds. I signed. I authorized it. Andre, you're 17. That's not how the law sees it. Or the board. You handed a grenade to a man who's never run a business. Lila throws the soggy envelope from her purse onto the desk. The lease papers, check stubs, her signed letter of authorization. Lila. It was real. It worked. You saw the article. You know what that place was. Andre finally meets her eyes. Andre, idealism doesn't build empires. It burns through them. Lila, you're scared. That's what this is. You saw someone build something without needing you. And you called it a threat, Andre. I saw a man take my daughter's name and drag it into the mud. Lila, no. You saw someone give your daughter hope, and you didn't like who gave it to her. Silence. Lila's voice drops, hurt now, not angry. Lila, con TD. You said you wanted me to see the world. I did. And I saw someone honest, good, better than anyone in your boardroom. Andre leans back slowly, tired of the performance. Andre, integrity doesn't pay bills, Lila. No, but it feeds people, and maybe that matters more. She walks out, no permission, no pause. Just like Yusuf did. The tragedy isn't when the powerful fail to understand the good. It's when they pretend it was never good at all. Concrete walls, flickering overhead light, a metal bench. Silence. Yusuf sits with his back straight, jacket removed, hands folded in his lap. No rage, no tears, just quiet breath, and the dull throb of humiliation still ringing in his chest. Another man in the cell snores. Somewhere far down the corridor, someone yells. But Yusuf is still. Some prisons are made of concrete, others of disbelief, of watching your dream collapse not because it failed, but because it dared to exist at all. He stares at his hands, the same ones that carried trays, changed diapers, signed lease papers, folded napkins, built hope from borrowed time. Flashback, montage, in his mind. Ayan handing him a drawing. Our cafe, you and me. Lila beaming as they painted the wall together. The mother who cried over soup. Why? The chalkboard. 45 meals paid forward today. Back to now. A beat-up wristwatch ticks faintly on his wrist. He presses his thumb over the cracked glass, as if trying to stop time. He didn't build it for glory. He built it because no one else would. And maybe that made him naive. Or maybe It made him brave. Footsteps echo down the hallway. Yusuf doesn't look up. Not right away. He's learned that silence is armor. But then, a guard approaches, leans down quietly so the others can't hear. Guard, softly. Someone posted your bail. Yusuf blinks. Yusuf. Who? The guard doesn't answer, just unlocks the cell door. Yusuf stands slowly, unsure whether he's dreaming or just still too tired to care. And sometimes, when you think the world has left you behind, it answers back in whispers. The building is near empty. City lights flicker beyond the windows like distant fires. Andre walks alone through the open-plan offices. No assistants, no guards, just the echo of his own footsteps. He enters a glass-walled boardroom, slides a file onto the table and begins to read. Inside, documents, emails, security reports, and a name repeated again and again. Edward Vale. Truth doesn't always shout. Sometimes it rustles in fine print, hides between spreadsheet rows, and waits for a man with enough silence to hear it. Vale, forwarding a false report to the city health office. An email from a shadow LLC funding the anonymous tip line. A check traced to a shell company, routed to a compliance officer who flagged the honest table. One note scrawled in pen. Destroy before it becomes a headline. Andre stares at the paper. His hands tense. His jaw locks. Office. Moments later. He sits down slowly at his desk. A photo of young Lila, smiling, innocent, unaware, stares back from the corner of the desk. He looks around. The room is cold, expensive, empty. He built towers, silenced competitors, bought silence. But tonight, in the quiet, he heard something louder than strategy, the sound of his own hypocrisy breaking. Andre opens a drawer, pulls out a manila folder marked Yusuf Personal Evaluation. He stares at it, then throws it into the trash. Andre, quietly, I was wrong. A long pause. His reflection in the window looks nothing like the man who once demanded obedience. He hadn't just underestimated Yusuf. He had become the very kind of man Yusuf had survived. The sun rises over the estate, but the mansion feels colder than ever. Lila stands at her window, suitcase open on the bed behind her, clothes scattered, books missing from the shelves. Her once colorful walls are bare. She stares out across the garden. Some goodbyes don't come with slammed doors or shouted words. Sometimes they slip out in silence, with one bag and a heart that can't stay still. She zips her suitcase, takes one last look at her desk, where her copy of Yusuf's cafe blueprint still lies folded, edges soft from handling. She picks it up, presses it to her chest. LeBlanc Mansion, downstairs hallway. Moments later, she walks through the marble halls barefoot. Her footsteps don't echo the same way today. The portraits on the wall, her ancestors, all look like strangers now. Passing the dining room, she pauses. The long table gleams, still perfectly set for no one. Dozens of chairs. No warmth, she keeps walking. Front foyer. Continuous. Andre waits by the door, silent. Not blocking her. Not stopping her, just there, Andre. You don't have to go, Lila. But I do. She reaches for the handle. Andre, softly. He's free. In case you were wondering, Lila pauses. Lila. I wasn't wondering. She opens the door. Sunlight floods the foyer. She had been raised with every comfort, except clarity. And now that she'd found it, she couldn't stay in a house built on the illusion of control. Front steps. Continuous. She pulls her hoodie up, lifts her suitcase, and starts walking. No driver, no car, just the street ahead. A weathered, the honest table flyer poking out of her back pocket. She looks down at it, then turns left, toward the cafe ruins. Her face is calm, determined, ready. Charred siding, boarded windows, a cracked closed-by-order sign half-ripped. The cafe that once breathed warmth now sits quiet, like a heart mid-collapse. but someone is already there. Yusuf, sleeves rolled, sweat on his brow, stands on a ladder pulling down broken trim, his hands blistered but steady. Beside him, a toolbox, a broom, a notebook, and no one else. Some men wait for miracles. Others roll up their sleeves and become one. Yusuf sweeping glass from the sidewalk as passing cars slow to watch. Repainting the door by hand, the brush strokes slow but deliberate. Hammering a new sign frame, using borrowed nails and salvaged wood. Taping a sheet of paper to the door. Rebuilding, come back stronger. He stops only to drink water, to breathe, then goes right back. Cafe parking lot. Dusk Yusuf kneels near a flower bed that survived the shutdown. He prunes it, gently, as if it were the only living thing left with him. From a distance, a black car sits tucked into the shadow of a closed deli. Inside, André LeBlanc watches. No driver, no assistant, just him, alone. He watches Yusuf rebuild with bare hands and no audience. A moment. André starts to open the door, but doesn't, just rests a hand on the handle. Then sighs. Not every empire is built in boardrooms, and not every collapse ends in ruin. Some end with a man, a hammer, and hope that refuses to die. André starts the car, drives off. Slow, quiet. Yusuf doesn't see. He's too busy putting the pieces back. Sunlight streams through the half-boarded windows. Yusuf sweeps again. The smell of sawdust mixes with brewing hope. Suddenly, a knock. No one is there. Just an envelope, slid beneath the door. Brown paper. No logo. Just 2 words in neat handwriting, for the cafe. He looks around. The street is empty. The morning wind whistles past. Cafe. Later that day, Yusuf opens the envelope. Inside, a cashier's check. $100,000 and a note written in elegant, slanted script. For every seed you planted that others tried to bury. Rebuild. Not just walls, but the world you dreamed of. No name. New ovens arriving. A contractor shakes Yusuf's hand. Local kids repaint the walls, laughter echoing. Honest work, honest pay, stenciled across the back wall. Hetni, Yusuf, silently arranging tables with his son beside him. Mansion. Night Juliet, standing in her father's study, sees a piece of parchment tucked under his briefcase. She lifts it, same brown paper, same handwriting. Her eyes go wide. Flashback. She remembers the letter at the cafe, matches the loops in the R, the way the D leans, back to present. A tear gathers at the edge of her smile. Juliet, softly. You did help, just in your own way. Cafe. Night Yusuf sits on the front step, wiping sweat from his brow. His son hands him a lemonade. The sign above the cafe lights up again for the first time. The honest table. Glowing, reborn. Some men say sorry. Others show it quietly. With their legacy. A modest crowd gathers. Sunlight glistens on the new signage. The honest table. Crisp, bold, hand-painted. Red ribbons hang across the doors. Balloons bob in the breeze. Kids from the neighborhood chase each other across the sidewalk. A string quartet, all local teens, plays a soft, hopeful melody. A banner reads, Grand Reopening, Built on Integrity, Cafe. Moments later, Yusuf straightens a crooked chair. He looks around, every detail in place. Workers, all from the neighborhood, wear aprons stitched with their names. The smell of freshly baked bread wafts through the air. Juliet appears beside him, holding a small bouquet of daisies. Juliet. These are from everyone who helped paint the walls. They said you made them believe in second chances. Yusuf accepts the flowers with a gentle nod. Heart full, cafe. Later a hush falls as Yusuf steps out onto a small wooden crate, microphone crackling in his hand. His son stands by his leg, one hand gripping his shirt. Yusuf, quietly at first. I used to count coins to buy a loaf of bread. Now I count smiles when someone takes their first bite here. He pauses. Breathes in the moment. Yusuf, Conti D. This cafe isn't about food. It's about what honesty can grow when the world stops looking down and starts reaching across. He glances at Juliet, then to the crowd. Yusuf, Conti D. To every hand that held a brush, every soul that believed. This place is yours. The crowd erupts in applause. Some tear up. A young girl whispers to her mom, "He talks like a poet." Behind the crowd, same time, a luxury car parked across the street. Inside, the billionaire sits quietly, unseen, watching, listening. And for the first time, he smiles. Without calculation. The cafe has mellowed. Most of the crowd has left. A few elderly men play chess in the corner. Children sip cocoa, giggling over napkin doodles. Yusuf wipes down a table near the window. His son, Sammy, sketches something in a corner booth. The bell over the front door chimes. Yusuf turns. In walks the billionaire. No bodyguards. No watchful eyes. Just him, in a simple coat. No tie. No mask. Juliet, behind the counter, freezes mid-pour. The cafe falls silent for a second, then resumes, as if holding its breath. He walks to the counter. Yusuf meets him there. Billionaire, quietly. One coffee. Black. No sugar. Juliet nods, slowly preparing it. The billionaire places 2 crisp bills on the counter. Double the price. He doesn't ask for change. Billionaire, Conti D. I wanted to see it for myself. Turns out some places really can run on truth. Yusuf says nothing. Just watches Billionaire, Conti D. Your idea. It's working, Yusuf. It's not my idea anymore. It's theirs now. This community. I just opened the door. The billionaire nods, accepting the truth in silence. He takes his coffee and looks around. A woman laughs. A man helps an elderly patron with her coat. Warmth lives here. He turns back to Yusuf. Billionaire, Conti D. I was wrong. About people like you. About what matters. Yusuf's jaw tightens. Not in pride, but release, Yusuf. You weren't wrong. You were hurt. There's a difference. The billionaire exhales. It almost sounds like relief. He walks away, sipping slowly. Before exiting, he leaves a folded note on the tip jar. Cafe. Continuous. He steps into the fading golden hour, pausing at the door. Looks back once, just once. Inside, life continues. Simple. Honest. Sunlight slices through the blinds, painting golden bars across the floor. Yusuf, now in a clean button-down and rolled-up sleeves, reviews receipts at the desk. His son Sammy quietly colors beside him. A knock. Yusuf looks up. Juliet leans in. Juliet, someone's here. Says you'll want to hear him out. Yusuf rises, confused. Walks to the front. The honest table, main floor. The billionaire stands near the entrance. No coffee this time. Just him holding a leather folder. Yusuf approaches, cautious but calm. Yusuf, did you forget your change again? Billionaire. No, I left it on purpose. Like I left the wallet. He opens the folder, revealing a thick contract. Crisp pages, company seal. Billionaire, Conti D. I've built dozens of companies. Scaled hundreds. But none taught me how to be human again. This place did. Yusuf eyes the folder, skeptical. Yusuf, I'm not interested in selling. Billionaire. Not asking you to. I'm asking you to build with me. Yusuf doesn't speak. The memory of that marble table where he first returned the wallet flashes in his mind. The man who once doubted him now stands here, humble. Billionaire. Conti D. We'll expand the honest table. Nationwide. Same heart. Same mission. You'll have equity. Full say, Yusuf. Quietly. Why me? The billionaire breathes deeply. For once, emotion flickers in his voice. Billionaire. Because you once returned a wallet, I'm returning trust. A beat of silence. Yusuf glances at Sammy, watching from the doorway with wide, proud eyes. Yusuf slowly takes the folder, not flipping it open yet. Just holding it, feeling the weight. Not of money, but meaning. A banner hangs across the cafe's front. Now co-founded by Yusuf Ahmed. From waiter to partner. The neighborhood gathers, friends, customers, news reporters, and former doubters. Flashbulbs pop, a soft buzz of applause echoes down the block. Inside, Yusuf adjusts his collar. No more borrowed uniforms. Now he wears a suit that fits his journey. Not expensive, but dignified. The honest table, back room. Continuous, Yusuf signs the final page of the partnership agreement. Juliet claps softly beside him. Juliet, from pocketing leftover bread to owning the whole oven. You did it. Yusuf smiles. A humble one, still uncertain how to absorb the moment. Yusuf, I wanted people to eat with dignity. That's all? The billionaire, now seated beside him, nods. Billionaire. And that's exactly why you earned it. Int, the honest table, front counter. Moments later, Sami runs inside, holding a copy of the day's newspaper. His father's photo is printed on the front page. The man who returned a wallet and changed a city. He rushes into his father's arms. Sami, they're all talking about you at school. They said you're a boss now. Yusuf kneels, placing both hands on Sami's shoulders. Yusuf, no, kiddo. I'm your father first. The rest is just a bonus. Sami squeezes him tight, burying his face in Yusuf's chest. Sami, you're my hero, Dad. Yusuf closes his eyes. Not because he's overwhelmed, but because, for the first time in years, he finally believes it too. A single suitcase rests near the edge of the wide marble steps. Juliet, wearing jeans and a college hoodie, stands beside her father's car. Her hair's tied back, face calm but eyes swimming in goodbyes. Yusuf arrives quietly, holding a paper bag of warm croissants. Yusuf, figured the campus food won't taste like this. She smiles, taking the bag and hugging it to her chest like a memory. Juliet, you remembered my favorite, hazelnut. Yusuf, you remembered how to believe in people. They both chuckle, soft and knowing. Juliet College is 4 hours away, not the moon. Yusuf, still, far enough to miss someone. Juliet shifts nervously, then suddenly embraces him, tighter than he expects, tighter than class lines or family names could ever allow. Juliet, promise you won't let Dad forget what this place became? Yusuf, only if you promise to come back and help run it. She pulls back, wiping her eyes with her sleeve. Juliet, deal. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out a worn silver coin, the kind waiters use to press between fingers for luck. He places it in her palm. Yusuf, this bought me a sandwich when I was down to nothing. Now it's yours. She looks down at it, then up at him. Juliet, why give it to me? Yusuf, for honesty. Always. A horn honks gently. Her ride is here. She walks backward toward the car, waving, her silhouette framed by the morning sun. A girl raised in wealth, now carrying values that can't be bought. Yusuf watches her go, quietly proud. A new storefront gleams under the autumn sun. A fresh wooden sign swings gently overhead. The honest table. The same handwriting from the anonymous donation letter now carved into wood. The honest table. Grand opening. Day sunlight pours in through wide windows. The smell of brewed coffee, warm bread, and fresh paint fills the air. Families enter. A mother with a toddler. A mechanic on his lunch break. A nurse with tired eyes and a hopeful smile. Yusuf in a clean apron, welcoming guests with a quiet nod. A teenager ringing up orders. Once homeless, now hired. Shite, a shelf labeled "Pay It Forward," filled with envelopes from customers covering future meals for strangers. Community art on the walls. Kids' handprints, poems, Polaroids of smiles. Local musicians performing near the window on weekends. A chalkboard. Today's message, you matter here. Newspaper office. Daya journalist pins a photo to a board. Yusuf standing beside a new hire, both laughing over spilled coffee. Typed below, the honest table, where integrity serves first. Yusuf's apartment. Night, the same apartment. But now the lights work, the fridge hums, and the silence feels full instead of empty. Yusuf tucks his son into bed. The boy points to a framed photo. The cafe's opening day, everyone smiling. Son, you made that place real, didn't you? Yusuf. We did. Together. Billboard. City skyline. NIDA. Glowing sign above a busy highway flashes, now open. The honest table. Sent location. Built on integrity. Yusuf drives by slowly, eyes reflecting the glow, heart quiet. Rain taps gently on the windows. The chairs are still upturned. The smell of yesterday's cinnamon and wood lingers. The cafe is quiet, except for the soft hum of the refrigerator and the distant dripping of a leaky faucet. Yusuf walks in, rubbing sleep from his eyes, a thermos in one hand. He moves through the cafe with muscle memory, checking switches, straightening napkin holders, touching the framed photo of the opening day. Everything feels still, until he notices it. A crisp, cream-colored envelope. It sits alone on table 3. The same booth where he once found a leather wallet. His brows knit. He looks around. No one's there. He picks it up. Close on the envelope. No name. No stamp. Just elegant, old-fashioned penmanship. For Yusuf. Yusuf's voice. Gentle. Surprised. Some letters don't arrive by post. They arrive when a heart is finally ready to speak. He opens it. Letter POV. As Yusuf reads. Voiceover. Yusuf, when I first saw you, I saw poverty. I saw weakness. I saw someone beneath my world. But I was wrong. You returned a wallet. But what you really returned was something I had long buried. My belief in people. You taught my daughter kindness beyond charity. You taught me humility without shame. You saved something I didn't know needed saving. My soul. Thank you. Yusuf swallows hard. His eyes glisten. He folds the letter carefully, presses it to his chest. For a moment he sits at the table. No music, no voices, just a man and the quiet echo of grace. He exhales slowly, then folds the letter back, places it in his wallet. This time, not lost. The first blush of dawn spills across the cafe windows, golden and warm. Soft light paints the polished wood floors, dancing in gentle streaks. The air smells of fresh bread and hope. A kettle whistles. Steam swirls upward like morning prayers. Yusuf, now in a crisp white apron and pressed shirt, stands behind the counter pouring coffee into a ceramic mug. His face is calm, lined not with worry, but with quiet fulfillment. He looks out the window. The street outside. Continuous, an elderly woman helps her grandson button his jacket. A young couple holds hands. A man in a delivery uniform waves at Yusuf as he passes. Life moves, softly, simply. The honest table. Continuous. The cafe door opens with a gentle chime. A few early regulars walk in, nodding, smiling. One places exact change in the honesty jar at the counter. Another writes on the "Need a meal. Take a meal board." Yusuf hands over a cup and the woman says, "Woman," smiling. "You remember how I take it." "That's rare these days," Yusuf, with a gentle nod. "Good people deserve to be remembered." The woman pauses. She looks around at the plants, the walls lined with Polaroids, the rack of free books. Woman. "This place feels like something the world forgot how to be." Yusuf smiles. "Not big, just enough." He walks over to the corner booth, sits alone, cradles a mug between his palms. Outside, the world wakes up, and inside, a man who once counted change, now counts blessings. Sometimes, the richest man isn't the one with money, but peace.